Welcome to On Football. I'm Rob Motti, ready for Week 15. Some huge matchups in the NFL. Bills, Patriots, Packers, Broncos. The Eagles are reeling. The Chiefs are, well, they're on the brink of elimination. And Philip Rivers is back in the NFL. Yes, 44-year-old Philip Rivers is back in the NFL with the Indianapolis Colts. Our special guest this week is Ravens linebacker Kyle Van Noy. Stay tuned for that conversation. The Indianapolis Colts are desperate to save their season. They lost Daniel Jones to an Achilles injury. Backup Riley Leonard went down with a knee injury, so they reached out to former quarterback Philip Rivers, who's been coaching high school football for the past 5 years. Philip is eligible for the Hall of Fame. He's a semifinalist, but he won't be anymore because he's coming back to play for the Indianapolis Colts. There's familiarity with him and head coach Shane Steichen. He was the offensive coordinator when the two were with the Chargers. My concern isn't Philip Rivers' ability to handle the mental aspect of playing quarterback. He knows the plays, he knows the system. It's whether or not he can withstand the physicality of playing quarterback in the NFL after being on a sideline for the past few years. I watched him on television in his news conference. He looked like he gained a few pounds since he last played. I don't know if Philip Rivers is physically ready to handle this, but I can tell you that the Indianapolis Colts are must-watch TV right now. Kyle Van Noy is a two-time Super Bowl champion. He was a Pro Bowl linebacker last season, and Kyle does a ton of great work in the community. Kyle, great to have you on the show, man. You guys are coming off a very tough loss to Pittsburgh. How long does it, especially with the way things unfolded there, the catch, no catch, everything, how that transpired, how long does that sit longer than others, or you don't really have any time for that? You got to get to the next one with Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
Yeah, you got to put one more in there. You got to pick the Travis Jones where he hits the long snapper in the head too. That turned into an extra 4 points. So there was quite a few calls in there, but I think the biggest thing is you have to accept it. It happened. It's over. It is what it is, and you got to do everything in your power, and everybody else has to do their 111 when they're out there to not have those calls even come up because you're playing so well. And I think that's the biggest focus for us is like, hey, let's get back to dominating our 111, not worry about what everyone else is doing. The ref says, okay, you get a bad call, line it back up again and dominate your 111 job. And I think that's kind of the main focus that we came with after a loss like that. It sucks. It's not easy, but we got a tough opponent who's been playing hot since Joe Burrow's been back. Their offenses did a good job against us the first game. They also had 5 turnovers, which helped them with that. Then they go to Buffalo and put up another 30 points. So we got our hands full. And then defensively, they did a good job against us in the first game. And then Buffalo, they had a couple highs and lows, eventually losing, unfortunately, for them. But for us, we just got to come in with the mindset of 1-0. We're going to get their best shot. They're playing on house money. They can unload the chamber just like we're going to have to unload our chamber because, they want to win. They got pride. They're not playing for a playoff spot. We are. And for them, it's like, oh, we get to knock the Ravens out of the playoff race. Like that's our playoff game. So for us, we got to do everything we can to stop that from happening. And like I mentioned at the beginning, it's just focusing on your 111 job and just taking advantage of the opportunity that you get to play a little kid's game and dominate.
You've played with some great teams that's won some Super Bowls in New England with the Patriots. You've seen Tom Brady up close and personal in practice. Lamar is an entirely different player who is a tremendous MVP caliber player of his own. What's it like seeing him in practice? How could you compare going against Tom a decade ago and going against Lamar now, just seeing him in practice?
Oh, he's one of one. There's totally different quarterbacks, but have the same impact. They put fear into the other team's offense and defense, puts that pressure on like, hey, we better get going because if not, this guy's coming. And that's the type of quarterback you want to have. I'm grateful enough to see Lamar from when I first got here to where he's at now, and just super grateful to have the friendship that we've had over the last couple years, and just to see his leadership growth as well as his playmaking ability. And he's just becoming more of a passer of the football, and that's what you want to see in a quarterback's growth coming into the NFL. If that's not something he's totally comfortable with, as far as like being, not quarterbacky enough, or being a running back, and how he's proved all the people that were right, like his mom and himself, by saying, yes, I am, and I'm going to show you. And he's done it year and year and year and year. And this year, he's been doing a good job, even though his stats aren't where they need to be. There's been a lot of drops. There's been a lot of miscues and mishaps, but you can see it. They're on the brink of it. I believe in LJ. He's a really good football player, and I believe in the offense. They're going to get going, and we're going to play a great team football game where we're going to look back and say, hell yeah, this was the turning point.
Kyle, there's a lot of accolades and awards that go to players for what they do on the field. You were a Pro Bowler last year in the NFL, and now you're nominated for the Art Rooney Award, which is for sportsmanship, which I think is one of the coolest things. What does that mean to you, just to even be recognized as a nominee?
Yeah, I feel really blessed about that. I don't know if they could say that at the beginning of my career. I used to like to talk some trash and, all that good stuff. But now I truly believe in just playing the game the right way. It's given me so much on the field and off the field. And I want to just have my light shine that I'm all the way sportsmanship myself. I'm going to try to do the right things on the field and off the field. I want to be a light to young kids out there. Like, man, you can have it all. You can have the family, you can have the good kids, and you can still play in the NFL and, do things outside of the NFL. You can really do it all if that's what you really want. And, hopefully we can get that award sitting at the Van Noy house at home. And I would be honored to have it.
And the Van Noy Valor Foundation, you're doing a lot of work with kids in foster homes, and I know you've got a lot coming up right around this time of year with Christmas. Yep. Just tell me a little bit about the importance of that work you're doing and how your background kind of shaped you into who you are right now.
Yeah, so I'm adopted. My father-in-law and brother are adopted, so me and my wife, it really hits home for us when it comes to adoption. And we've really have seen a stigma around foster care and, kind of this negative kind of cloud. And we wanted to bring a positive light to it, and how amazing it is, and how beautiful these kids are, and how they're our future, and how they are well deserved of getting treated just like anyone else, of any one of us, and how they're amazing kids that need a chance. Not even a chance. They don't want to be in the situations they didn't sign up to be in those situations. And, we just want to show people that don't worry about your circumstance. You can't control it sometimes, but you can control each and every step you take, going in the right direction, doing the right things, doing all the things you need to do. And with the kids that we're able to help out and do cool things with, we do a very Van Noy Christmas. We had 16 families this year that we did in Salt Lake. 16 families that had about 80 kids total, where we were able to have a very Van Noy Christmas, where we're giving lights, ornaments, coats, clothes, personalized gifts for them, gift cards, so they can shop for others, shop for family members for the holidays. It was amazing. And then we did 2 families that I teamed up with here with the Ravens. That was amazing. 2 families, 3 girls in one family, 3 boys in another family, and we're able to just personalize a Christmas for them and make it super, super special. Get them things for school supplies, just get everything that they need for them to be able to be just successful with what they're trying to do right now. And super humble to be able to do that we're blessed to have an awesome team with the Van Noy Valor Foundation, and an awesome teammate with my wife who does so much with that, as well as myself. And we're just pumped to be able to give back and shine such a positive light to something that has had kind of a stigma to it.
Time for some pro picks. The 4-pack was 2-2 last week straight up and against the spread. Overall, 41-14-1 straight up. 34-21-1 against the number. My best bet, Carolina 7-6 at New Orleans 3-10. Panthers are 2.5-point favorites and they control their playoff hopes. They already lost at home to the Saints. They're not going to overlook New Orleans after seeing them beat Tampa Bay last week on the road. Bryce Young's coming off an excellent game in a stunning upset over the Rams before they had a week off. Carolina's been inconsistent, some impressive wins over the Packers and the Rams. They had some lopsided losses to the Bills and the Patriots. They've lost 11 straight games as a favorite. Not this time. Panthers 23-17. My upset specials are 11-3 straight up and against the spread. Looking at the Lions, who are 8-5 at LA against the Rams. They're 10-3. Rams are 5.5-point favorites. Jared Goff is 2-1 against Matthew Stafford since they were traded for each other. That includes a playoff win, but the Rams already got their Super Bowl victory out of Stafford. The Lions are still looking to go there with Jared Goff. They've got a tough road just to get into the playoffs, and that starts this week in LA. Now, Goff and Coach Dan Campbell are 23-12 against the spread as underdogs. Meanwhile, the Rams are 16-3 against the spread in December since 2021. Something has to give. I'm taking the more desperate team, Lions 27-26. Next, I'm going to Baltimore at Cincinnati. Ravens are 6-7. Bengals are 4-9. Ravens are a 2.5-point favorite. Maybe facing the league's worst defense will finally get Lamar Jackson and the Ravens offense going. They've got no margin for error after a tough loss to the Steelers, some controversial plays, as you heard from Kyle Van Noy. Joe Burrow and the Bengals, they're playing spoiler. They already won in Baltimore on Thanksgiving. Jackson is 6-2 against Burrow. Make that 7-2. Ravens 29-24. Lastly, I'll go to one of those big games. Buffalo 9-4 at New England 11-2. Yet the Patriots are home underdogs. Bills are 1-point favorites. The Patriots have won 10 in a row. The Bills had opened the season 4-0 before they lost to New England at home in week 4, and New England's kept on winning. It feels like Josh Allen versus Drake May is going to be the headline for the next decade in the AFC East. The Bills rallied last week in a snowstorm to beat Burrow and the Bengals. The Patriots rested. Mike Vrabel's teams in Tennessee were 6-1 overall and 6-1 against the spread off a bye. He's in New England. They're due for a loss. I think Buffalo avenges their Week 4 loss at home, 27-24 Bills. That's it for this week. Thank you to Kyle Van Noy. Thank you for listening to On Football. And thanks to Haya Pinjwani and Guillermo Gonzalez for producing this episode. Please check out apnews.com for the full pro picks, on football analysis, and more NFL news.